How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading with the prices going up or down. So over on the Dixie for the daily, we are starting to pull back. We did hit our 300 EMA. We do have a long upper shadow candle. Remember, that's created when you have this long wick up here on your candle body, which shows that buyers tried to push us up, but the sellers are stepping in and giving us bearish momentum. So that means we could end up dropping away if we're not careful. Our stochastic, our double line here on our market cipher B is starting to sell off. We do have our orange above blue, which is giving us that bearish cross, which can bring us lower. Our RSI is starting to pull back. VWAP is currently in the bearish territory. That's that yellow wave. And remember, as that yellow wave favors more bearish, our momentum, our blue wave, will continue to favor bearish as well. And that will cause this money flow, which is our green wave, to end up pulling back. And once that money flow goes from green to red, we do have a bearish trend, and that bearish trend could continue us lower. Over on the 4 hour here, we are trying to make a little bit of a rounding bottom, but now we are getting a bit of bearish momentum. Watch this bearish momentum very close. We did get a long lower shadow candle here, but if we cannot break this EMA on the next candle and continue to get bullish momentum, we could end up rejecting away and still pushing down. RSI wants to pull back, stochastic is starting to round away. Our VWAP does want to pull back, which is causing that momentum to round as well. As that momentum pulls back, remember, our money flow will remain in the bearish territory, and that can make the daily weaker. Over on the 2 hour, RSI wants to pull back, our stochastic does want to sell off. The VWAP is in the bearish territory, and our stochastic's coming down. If that VWAP continues to favor bearish, it's likely our stochastic can drop, our money flow can pull back, and price action will continue to weaken. We did hit this blue EMA. We made a rounding top when we hit that EMA, which gave us bearish momentum to pull back, so I would exercise caution here. Over on our 1 hour, we did hit 2 EMAs here. We are struggling. If we cannot hold above that blue EMA, we could start to round away. Our side does want to round off. Our stochastic is starting to pull back. The VWAP is in the bearish territory, so I would exercise caution. If that VWAP continues to favor bearish, our momentum will continue lower, and then the bears will continue to gain control of these lower time frames, which will push those higher time frames lower. Over on the total for the daily, we did get a very strong run up and filled our gap, so that is very positive. We did run through our 674, we invalidated our bear flag, but just watch if we can hold this. We did push up to this previous range of resistance, and now we are meeting resistance there again. If we end up pushing down and breaking this 674, then we could see continued bearish momentum still. However, if we're able to solidify support in this range, maybe consolidate making a bull flag, then we could try to push up to our 743, which in turn would give the altcoins a run up. Our RSI does want to push up. Stochastic is running forward. We do have our blue above our orange. Our VWAP is trying to push forward as well. The momentum does want to gain bullish momentum with this green dot as that VWAP is pushing up. So if that continues, our money flow could remain bullish, and we could see a bit of a bounce here for total and our altcoins. So we did see our symmetrical triangle break up. That is very good for us. And then once we got that break up, we just continued to tear forward. So hopefully you're watching what we said to watch. Our stochastic does want to round away here. RSI, our red line, is starting to pull back. The momentum does want to round away. The VWAP has lower highs, and it is starting to come back down. So if we get lower lows, I would exercise caution, because then we could have a bearish trend. That bearish trend would cause momentum to pull back, and the money flow could start to weaken if we don't gain bullish momentum then. Over on the 2 hour, our stochastic does want to round away here, but we are overall pushing up. Remember, the stochastic really doesn't have much further up it could go right now. Our RSI, about the same. VWAP does want to pull back. It is trying to hit that neutral, so watch the VWAP. If it breaks through and gets a consistent or lower low, we could see bearish momentum build. If we are not able to get back above that zero and meet strong bullish momentum, get strong waves like we did here. Our momentum does want to round, so watch that VWAP close. If that VWAP breaks, momentum will push down, and our money flow could start to weaken. Over on the 1 hour here, we are just running forward. Our stochastic is pretty flat. RSI is flat. Momentum is starting to weaken as that VWAP is struggling to maintain bullish momentum. So I would watch this VWAP close. We did get a slight break here, and now we're coming up toward the neutral. So if we get a lower high here, we could have lower highs with lower lows, and we could see a bearish trend. However, if we break through and then we hold above that zero, we could continue this run forward. Right now, ideally, we would see consolidation to make a bull flag and give us a range of support so we don't just break down later. Remember, you don't want to just shoot straight up or straight down. Over on Bitcoin dominance, we did start to push up, so we did invalidate this double top possibility. That is because Bitcoin went up about 2.5%, total went up 3%, so that's a little interesting. Usually the dominance goes up more when Bitcoin increases ahead of everything else, so we may have seen a bit of stablecoin sell-off here as well. We do have a long upper shadow though. This long upper shadow, if followed by a strong red candle, could end up breaking us down. The stochastic does want to run up, RSI is flat, VWAP is in the bullish territory, and the momentum is pushing forward. If that VWAP starts to break away, we could reject this area, but currently we do have higher highs with higher lows, so we are trying to make a bullish trend, and that bullish trend could help push dominance higher. Over on the 4 hour, we did break our 300 EMA, so I would exercise caution. We could make a smaller double top here. Momentum does want to round. We do have a red dot, stochastic's pushing down, and VWAP is bearish. Overall, that is pushing our money flow lower and weakening price. We did get that long upper shadow candle, which shows that the bulls tried to push us up, but the sellers were gaining control. If we cannot break above and hold our 300 EMA, it's likely we could continue lower. Same goes for this 2 hour. Our momentum does have bearish divergence, RSI is pulling back, our stochastic is rounding away, and the VWAP is in the bearish territory. If that VWAP cannot break for a bullish trend, we will see momentum continue to weaken, and that money flow could end up breaking down. Over on the 1 hour, RSI is pulling back, stochastic is dropping down, that VWAP is in the bearish territory, and the money flow does want to push down, so watch that VWAP close. If it continues to favor bearish here, our momentum will continue to weaken, and our money flow will break down. Over on Bitcoin futures for the daily, we did push up early out of our symmetrical triangle, and we are trying to hit our value area high of our Fibonacci, our fixed range volume profile, So we are trying to hit the top of our fixed range volume profile, and if we cannot break through, then we could see continued bearish momentum, get a rejection, and see a breakdown. It wouldn't be our symmetrical triangle breakdown, so that wouldn't necessarily have to break us down to our 65.5. Our momentum does want to round away, stochastic is trying to push up, RSI is flat, that VWAP is in the bullish territory, and the money flow is weakening. So if that VWAP can sustain this bullish momentum, we could see our momentum remain bullish, and money flow could start to reverse. We would want to see bullish momentum on our lower time frames. Over on the 4 hour, we did kind of just break out, so we do ideally want to see a rebound where we break down, hit the top of our channel, and then push up. That would be a retest, and then if we do get that retest and continue forward, that would be our strongest move forward. However, if we do not get the retest, we could still break forward. I would just watch if we break forward because we could end up breaking down very quick then. Our momentum does want to round away here on the 4 hour. VWAP does have lower highs, and we do want to break down, so I would watch if we get lower lows. Momentum will weaken, and that money flow could end up breaking down as well. Over on the 2 hour, we do have a big consolidation, so that is our bullish case scenario, because consolidation after a breakout does create a bull flag that can push you forward. Our stochastic is starting to round away, RSI wants to pull back, the momentum is starting to round off, and the VWAP is starting to come back down. So if that VWAP gets a lower high with lower lows, we could see our momentum break down, and that money flow could break down as it's clinging to the bullish territory, so I would exercise caution. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a bit more of a rounding top that could be going on, so I would watch for that. Stochastic does want to pull back. We do have our orange above blue, so that's giving us a bearish cross that does want to continue this bearish momentum. RSI is pushing down, and the momentum is rounding away. That VWAP did break through the bearish territory, and if it does not reverse, we will see our momentum start to bring that money flow lower, and we could end up hitting the top of our channel. Again, you want to see a bounce from there if we're going to continue forward then. But our indicators can weaken and stretch along this neutral too when we create bull flags or bear flags, because our indicators won't move very much if price action isn't moving very much either. So over on Bitcoin for the daily, we did invalidate this bear flag possibility, but I would still exercise caution if we do end up breaking down. So that is very positive, because that means we may not get that break to around our 63K, and as futures does want to lead to 76K, we could see that push finally. RSI does want to push up, momentum is gaining strength, smash the like, VWAP wants to push up, and the money flow is gaining strength. So overall, we're doing pretty good here on the daily. We want that to continue on futures on the lower time frames. Over on the 4 hour, you could call this one big bull flag, so we could be still in a flag where you have this kind of consolidation range here, and then that could try to push us even higher if we drew this out. So we could end up taking this pull, if I can grab it, over to the top of our channel, and that would push us around 80K, so that's quite a bit more than futures. Stochastic does want to push up, RSI is pushing forward, VWAP does want to gain strength, and the momentum wants to push up too. So if the VWAP can remain bullish here, we will see momentum bring money flow higher. However, our VWAP does have a lower high in its rounding, so watch for a lower low, as that could kick off a new bearish trend. Over on the 2 hour, momentum is starting to round away with Stochastic and RSI. VWAP wants to break down, and our money flow is flat, so I would exercise caution. If we cannot break through this top of the channel, we could end up breaking down. It does look like we're getting a big consolidation after this run up though, so that could create a bull flag within our flag to help give us that initial break up. Our Stochastic is starting to pull back, RSI is pulling back here on the 1 hour. VWAP is pushing down, causing momentum to weaken, and that money flow is bullish. But if that VWAP continues to break down, momentum will bring money flow lower, which will in turn weaken those higher time frames. Over on graph for the daily, we did get a bit of a rounding bottom here, so that is good. That is that strong green candle after that red candle. So with that indecision candle, so that's the 3 candles that make your rounding bottom. If this is followed by a strong green candle, we could see a push up to our 31,954. However, if we start to reject these EMA levels, we could still see that push to our purple EMA right around that 27,351. RSI is pulling back, so Stochastic's pushing down. It's pretty beat down, causing our momentum to drop. Our VWAP is in bearish territory, and our money flow does want to pull back. So overall, we are seeing a bit of push to the downside. If our VWAP does not reverse and push our momentum, money flow, and other indicators forward, then we could start to break down still. Watch the lower time frames, they need to become more bullish if we're going to continue our break up. Over on the 4 hour, we are struggling with our 300 EMA, and we are starting to round away from it. If we cannot break through it and hold, we could end up breaking down. Our Stochastic does want to round away, RSI is starting to weaken, our VWAP does want to reject as well. The momentum is pulling back, and the money flow is favoring bearish, so if that VWAP does break down and get a lower low, we could see momentum pull back, and money flow would remain more bearish, and we would see the daily push down then as well. Over on the 2 hour, we could be in a bit of a descending channel, but it's not a very consistent one, so it may not be one that breaks you up because these lows and highs don't really connect. So this is more of a bearish continuation channel. So if we cannot break through that EMA soon on that 4 hour, we may get that rejection and push down. Stochastic does want to round, RSI is pulling back, VWAP does want to break down, so watch very close. If that VWAP gets a lower low, momentum will break down and money flow will reject. That will weaken the 4 hour and the daily. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a bit of a consolidation. This consolidation does want to help push us forward because that does create a bull flag when it's coming after a break up. This bull flag is very small, but could push us to our 300 EMA. If we can break and hold that, then we could continue to run up. Our Stochastic is starting to round away, RSI is pulling back, the momentum does want to weaken, VWAP is in the bearish territory, and the money flow is picking up bearish strength, so I would watch. If that VWAP continues to drop lower, momentum will weaken, money flow will remain bearish, and then the higher time frames will end up breaking down as well. Over on Ankr for the daily, we do have a bit of this flag still, so we did try to break our resistance area. We are trying to break to it to make it support. So if we can continue above this 42.8, can't get the word out, 42.89, sorry. So if we can break through this 42.89 and hold, then we could continue to run up. RSI does want to push up, stochastic is trying to push forward. VWAP does want to break that neutral. Momentum is trying to gain strength, but if that VWAP does not get a higher high, we could see a lower low, and then we would have a rejection of the neutral and bearish favor. That bearish favor could end up breaking us lower, and we could see that push to our 40.49. Over on the 4 hour here, we did get a break to the bottom of our flag, and we are pushing up. If we can continue to push up from here, we can invalidate this pattern and attempt to push to our 300 EMA. Our RSI is pretty flat. Stochastic does want to run up though, so if stochastic can continue above 30, RSI will continue to be overbought, and that can help push price action forward. VWAP is in the bullish territory. Momentum does want to break up with bullish divergence. That's what that green bar is, which could cause that money flow to push up. If that money flow does push up, we could start to strengthen the 4 hour and the daily then. Over on the 2 hour, we do have a bit of a rounding bottom trying to form. If we can get a stronger green candle, we may be able to get that run up. Stochastic is starting to curl away, so I would just watch if it starts to break down. RSI may start to taper off again, and we could get a lower high. Then we could see lower lows on price, and that could end up pushing us down right around that 40.49. Our RSI is flat. VWAP does want to break down. Momentum is starting to round away, so if that VWAP does break down, our momentum will reject and money flow would remain bearish. That would then weaken those higher time frames. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a little bit of consolidation going on above our 42.89. If we can continue this, we could create a bull flag. That bull flag could then push us up to our 300 EMA, right around that 44 cent area. And if we can break that, we could continue up, invalidating our bear flag. However, if we come up and hit that, and then we reject, we could end up seeing a rejection of our flag and then breaking down. Our stochastic does want to round away, so I would watch very close. RSI does want to remain overbought, but if the stochastic comes down, the RSI is showing a little bit of weakness, and it could start to come down too and bring price action lower with it. The momentum wants to round away overall, as our VWAP favors bearish, which is causing that money flow to want to break down. That red wave, it's very hard to see right now, but our yellow wave is our VWAP. As that VWAP rejects this 0, that can give us bearish strength, meaning we would sell off, and then that would cause our blue wave, our momentum, to weaken as well. So over on XRP for the daily, we are trying to get that break up above that value area low on our fixed range volume profile, so that is very positive. If we can continue this break up, we do have that 54 resistance above us. Then we also have around that 57 and the top of our channel right around 55. So those are our next kind of resistance areas if we can continue bullish momentum on our altcoins here. Our stochastic does want to push up. We do have that blue above orange that is giving us that bullish cross on this double line, which is pushing that red line, our RSI, forward and helping push price action up. Our VWAP is this yellow wave is pushing above that neutral. It does want to continue up, causing that momentum to try to gain strength with that green dot here. If that green dot can continue with our VWAP, we will see that money flow break through that neutral and would then flip our trend into a bullish trend and help give us the strength we would need to see the break up to those resistance areas. Over on the 4 hour, we did hit our 300 EMA and we are pulling back, but we did break up very quick. So if we can bounce off this EMA band here, we could try to retest that 300 EMA, and if we can break that, we could continue up. Stochastic does want to round. I would watch. We do have that orange above blue, but we're not coming down yet. RSI could start to break down if that stochastic does break, so I would watch. The momentum does want to round as our VWAP has lower highs. If that VWAP breaks for a lower low, we could get a bearish trend. That bearish trend would bring momentum lower and cause the money flow to reject if we maintain more bearish favor. Over on the 2 hour, we did come down to our 300 EMA and we are trying to bounce. If we can make that bounce here, that would be very positive, and that would be a good retracement after getting that run forward. Our momentum does want to round. Stochastic is pushing down. RSI wants to push down. That VWAP is in the bearish territory and the money flow does look like it could reject. So if that VWAP remains bearish, momentum will start to push down, and our money flow could then start to reject, weakening the 4-hour and the daily. Over on the 1 hour here, we are just below that green EMA, and we are struggling. If we cannot break above and hold, we could end up breaking our blue EMA and retesting our 300 EMA here on the 1 hour. If we do that, then we could end up seeing bearish favor if we break and reject it. Momentum does want to round, stochastics coming down, RSI is pushing down, and the VWAP is in the bearish territory, which is causing the money flow to pull back, so overall I would exercise caution. Over on ALGO for the daily, we do want to push forward. This is a long lower shadow candle that is coming after that long upper shadow, so we do still have the potential to see a strong green candle here and attempt to break these resistance areas of our 1906 and 1937. Our stochastic is pulling back, RSI wants to push forward, our VWAP is favoring bearish, causing money flow to remain bearish as well. Over on the 4 hour, we are struggling to break above EMAs and hold, so if we continue to reject away, we could end up breaking down. This isn't a very clean descending channel either. Our momentum does want to round, RSI is pulling back, our VWAP does want to round away, and the momentum is starting to round, causing money flow to break down. If that VWAP does break down, we will see the higher time frames start to push lower, and then we could see that 16-18 still. Over on our 2 hour, we do have a little bit of consolidation. We came up near our 300 EMA, and we were not able to break through it. Our RSI is starting to go flat as stochastic is starting to flatten out, so if our stochastic breaks down, we could see RSI bring price action lower, but remember, as price action moves sideways, your indicators kind of reset and move nowhere. Our VWAP does want to push down, momentum wants to round, and money flow is in the bearish territory, so I would watch that very close. If our VWAP continues to break down and we reject this neutral on the 1 hour, we could see momentum and money flow reject. That would then weaken those higher time frames. Momentum does want to round with the red dot, stochastics breaking down, and that RSI does want to pull back. So overall, the bears do look like they have a bit of control over us, and they could end up breaking us down, but we do have bull flags everywhere that could end up appearing, and these bull flags could push us through resistance areas, and if we can break through those resistance areas, we could see the market snap forward. If any of you are watching for the stock, we'll cover it real quick. We did mention we did have a breakdown possibility on it, so we can zoom in. We did push down below that gap, and we did create another gap. We are pushing to our neckline. This does give us a chance to push up back above that gapped area because we did create a gap while we pushed down. So you could see some whipsaw action still. I would exercise caution yet. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you all have a great night. Again, if you want more on this stock,